All right, let's jump right in. We usually think of AI as something that just finds an answer. But what if the challenge was to find the one single best answer for a problem so huge it covers the entire globe? Well, that's the massive puzzle we're going to unpack today. I mean, really think about that for a second. This isn't just finding a good route for one little delivery truck. No. We're talking about coordinating the whole shebang. Every single delivery truck, every cargo ship, every plane in an entire global supply chain, all at the same time to be as efficient as humanly possible. It sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, it turns out AI has a framework for this exact kind of thing. And that concept is global optimization. You can think of it as the roadmap we're going to follow in this explainer. It's all about how an AI can sift through a universe of possibilities to find that one perfect solution. So, to really wrap our heads around this, let's use an analogy. Imagine you're not just trying to climb a hill, your mission is to find the single highest point on the entire planet. That's the ultimate goal we're talking about. Now, in the language of AI, this highest point has a name, the global optimum. And this is so important. We are not looking for a good solution or a better one. We are on the hunt for the one, undisputed, best possible outcome, period. And this really drives home the scale of the challenge, doesn't it? An AI could easily find the highest hill in your local park, but that's nothing compared to a Himalayan peak thousands of miles away. Global optimization isn't about finding a local high point, it's about finding Mount Everest. Okay, so if you're gonna find the highest peak, what's the first thing you need? A map, of course. In AI, this map of all the possible solutions, all the mountains, valleys, and plains, is called the problem space. So let's take a look at how they draw it.
This map basically has three parts. First, the objective function. That's your goal. Are you trying to maximize profit, minimize delivery time? In our mountain analogy, this is what height actually means. Next, you've got the key variables. These are all the decisions you can make, like which truck takes which package. Think of those as the coordinates, the latitude and longitude on your map. And finally, the constraints. These are the rules of the game. A truck can only carry so much, or you can't fly through a certain area. These are the off-limits zones on our map.
And believe me, this isn't just some abstract idea. These problem landscapes are being used right now for huge, real-world challenges. We're talking about optimizing global supply chains, managing all the internet traffic whizzing around the globe, allocating power across energy grids, and even tackling legendary brainbusters like the traveling salesman problem.
Okay, so we have our map. We're ready to go, right? Well, not so fast. Just because you have a map doesn't mean the climb is going to be a walk in the park. This landscape is treacherous, and it is filled with traps.
And here it is, the single biggest trap in global optimization. An algorithm can climb up a peak, look around, see that it's the highest point in its immediate area, and just declare victory. But it might be standing on a tiny foothill while the real mountain is looming just over the horizon.
This trap is called the local optimum. It's a pretty good solution, and it's easy to find, but it's a decoy. The real prize, the global optimum, the true summit, is much, much harder to find. So really, the whole game is about designing algorithms smart enough to avoid getting stuck on these deceptive little peaks.
So how do we do that? Often, we use heuristics. You can think of these as smart shortcuts or rules of thumb for climbing. A heuristic might be something like, hey, if you get to the top of a hill, don't stop. Take a big leap in a random direction to see if there's an even bigger mountain nearby. Now, they aren't guaranteed to work every single time, but for these incredibly complex landscapes, they're our best shot at finding great solutions fast. But what happens when the problem isn't just one mountain range, but the size of the entire planet? Well, one climber, one computer just isn't going to cut it. You need to coordinate a whole team of climbers, spread out all across the landscape.
This approach is called distributed problem solving, and it's how AI tackles problems that are just way too enormous for any single agent to handle on its own. It's all about breaking the problem down and tackling it together, in parallel.
And the strategy is actually kind of beautiful when you stick with our metaphor. First, you decompose the problem. You divide that whole mountain range into different zones. Then, you assign your agents, your teams of climbers, to explore each zone. Now, here's the crucial part. The teams communicate. They share what they found. Hey, we found a peak at 8,000 meters over here. Finally, all that knowledge gets combined to create one single unified map, letting the system spot the true highest peak. And the benefits of doing it this way? They're huge. You get incredible scalability to tackle bigger and bigger problems. You get amazing speed because so many agents are searching at once. And you can even get privacy. Get this, one agent doesn't need to share all of its raw data with another, just its key findings.
But all of this brings us to what might be the most important part of this whole discussion. So far, we've only talked about how to find the highest peak. We haven't asked a much more fundamental question. How do we decide which peak is the right one to climb in the first place?
Because you see, defining what best means isn't just a math problem, it's a human one. That objective function we talked about, the thing that defines height on our map, that's a reflection of our values. What we choose to optimize for is a social and ethical choice, and we have to be able to justify it.
Let's look at a classic trade-off: efficiency versus equity. An AI told to maximize efficiency might create the absolute fastest delivery routes possible. But maybe those routes consistently skip over rural or low-income neighborhoods. On the other hand, an objective function built around equity would make sure all areas get fair service, even if the whole system is a little bit slower. So which one is best?
Or how about this one? Optimality versus robustness. You could design a supply chain that is absolutely perfect for a calm, predictable world, the best possible plan for a sunny day. But that fragile system might completely fall apart during a hurricane or a pandemic. A robust plan might be a little less optimal on a normal day, but it's resilient. It keeps working when things go wrong. Again, which do we choose?
And this is the real takeaway. These trade-offs, they aren't bugs in the system, they are fundamental features of governance. We have to decide deliberately and transparently what values we are embedding into our algorithms.
Which brings us to our final massive question. We've seen that AI has this incredible power to find the best solutions to global scale problems. But as this technology increasingly optimizes our world, from our supply chains to our power grids, it leaves us with one profound thought. Who gets to draw the map? Who decides what height means? That's not a question for algorithms to answer. That's a question for all of us.